A very happy Engineers Day to everyone. Yes, everyone, you heard it right. I say everyone because you walk out on especially Indian roads, for every breath in and breath out, you seem to find an engineer, right? Of course, the actual number of engineers are very low in number, but the real true engineers, right, who engineer themselves out to be someone else but engineers, are very high in number. And what do they engineer themselves out to be? Maximum they get into two or three professions, which are number one IT, number two IT, and number three, yes, IT. That's right. So today we'll talk about a very interesting topic in finance. So this topic has been engineered out of finance. It doesn't really require any top notch engineering knowledge. It's based on some simple physics formula. Okay, it's supposedly one of the harder topics to understand in physics, at least from what I've heard from some people. Financial leverage. So let's look at it with the lens of an engineer, right? So, financial leverage, yes, physics plus financial leverage. Torque. Everyone's heard of torque? I'm sure you'd have. Torque is equal to radius vector into the force vector, right? Radius into force. This is applicable in every day-to-day's work that we do, even in the simplest of tasks, such as using scissors or opening a door, or if you go to Bangalore's Banerghatta road and many other roads where a lot of metro construction is going on, you see men at work. And what are they doing? They're lifting stones using a lever. So you put in effort and you have the radius out here by way of the length of the lever, which helps it lift the stone, which helps the stone to be lifted effortlessly. Now, how is this related to financial leverage, you might be wondering? It actually is. Now, talking about finance now, there are two kinds of financing that happen, broadly speaking. What are those? One is debt, the other one is equity. What is equity? Broadly speaking, right? Only broad definitions I'm giving here. Let's not go too much into the nitty-gritties. Equity is the money that comes out of your own pockets, and debt is something that you borrow, correct? So equity, in other words, is an effort that you're putting, yeah, your effort. And debt is where you borrow and then you return the principal and the loan, of course, right? So this is borrowing. In other words, it's making your life easier by ensuring that you don't have to go in for a leather hunt to look for money. Instead, someone's doing the service of lending money out to you so that you can return to them at a later date with pertinent interests. Now, how is this related to debt and equity? If you see, the force that you're applying here on the lever is your effort, so it's similar to equity. And the inherent length of the lever is similar to that of debt, because it is making your life easier, correct? The more the length of the lever, the lesser the force you'll have to apply in order to lift the stone. And the same thing's the case with debt and equity. Debt makes your life easier to finance your company, as opposed to equity where you'll have to shell out the money yourself. Now, what is the flip side of having too much of debt? So now, looking at this explanation, it might seem that, okay, then let's borrow everything, let's make our life easier. Not really. It also has its flip side. Now, if I were to just go on increasing the length of this lever here, so that I have to hardly apply any force, then what's the danger? Suppose someone keeps their, yeah, this is actually someone's foot, excuse my drawing skills. So the effort that you put here, even with the minimalistic of efforts, the stone can raise so high that if it happens to slip and fall, it will really damage this guy's foot there, right? So there's the other extreme, or the flip side, to have borrowing too much of debt, which is, while you borrow a lot of money, you have a lot of money at your disposal. In case you happen to run into loss, right? You happen to run into loss, then what tends to happen is you are burdened and saddled with such huge debt that you need to pay the interest, and you also need to pay the principal, which can come in as a huge burden, which is the financial equivalent of that huge stone, remember, falling on your foot, or should I say shooting yourself on the foot. So think before you borrow huge debt, but do borrow rationally.